think I think we're finally good now. Whew, that was a struggle. Hopefully we get some people in here. Gonna go live on YouTube too. I don't remember how to do any of this. Mm-hmm. All right, we're live on both. Ooh, yeah, I don't know. My camera turned off on my laptop, so I was having issues getting the camera turned on. I went live twice and had to cancel them, but I think we're good now. So we've got TikTok going. Hi on TikTok. Hi on YouTube. I just wanted to hop on live with both audiences and kind of talk through our trip. We just got back just under a week ago. It feels like forever ago. So much has happened since we came back from our trip, but we came back Sunday, the 27th. We had actually added on a night months ago, and we really enjoyed our added days in Disney, and we stayed at Boardwalk. But I will get to all of that. We did get back last Sunday, and we had an amazing trip. We flew out of Buffalo on the early morning flight with JetBlue on July 17th. So it was a 10-day trip. We had a fabulous time and it was so much fun. So we flew out early morning. We haven't done an early morning flight in a while. I want to say the last time we did one was maybe my birthday trip with my whole family. And oh no, we did it for the birthday trip for my brother. But that was the last time we had done an early morning flight. And I think that worked out a lot better with Juniper because she was still tired and groggy compared to when we went in May and we flew out late the night before our we flew out the night before our trip really started and we flew home late on the last day, and both of those flights she was just super overtired. So I think the early morning flight was probably the go-to move, and she was so cute when she woke up. She was so groggy. I wish I would have been recording her, and she was just like, what is happening? I don't think I've ever really woken her up early recently for anything, and that was fun. But we flew JetBlue, which I loved flying JetBlue. We have recently been flying Southwest a lot, and with all the Southwest changes and stuff, we decided to fly JetBlue. Plus, their flights were cheaper, I think, for this trip. It ended up being, and we have the JetBlue credit card, so we get free for up to 4 people, which is really convenient, especially now that Southwest. I think we would with Southwest to get free luggage this trip, but going forward, we'll probably be flying a lot more. Uh, but with JetBlue, you get free Wi-Fi on the whole flight. You don't have to pay for it, which compared to Southwest, where it's like each person, and usually I'm kind of like, do I pay for it on Southwest? Do I not pay for it? Am I even gonna be able to use it with like taking care of Juniper? So happy that we were on JetBlue. We got the free Wi-Fi. Their seats are so much bigger. Like we had so much more space that it was just really, really nice flying JetBlue. And we also bought Juniper a seat for this flight after our May trip when she was overtired, and we had 3 people plus Juniper in our row. And this trip would have just been me and Dan, and then like a third random stranger in the row if we didn't buy her seat. So I was like, you know what? She needs a seat. So glad we did. She couldn't kick the seat in front of her. She just sat in her chair and watched Mario, or Nyanyo as she calls Mario. And she watched that both directions. She was up for most of the flight going there, and then coming home, she slept pretty much the whole flight. So both flights were really great with her. She kept herself busy watching the show and playing her games. So we had a really great flight in. And then when we landed in Orlando, like I said, we were JetBlue, so we were in Terminal C, which I love Terminal C. I think they probably should remodel the whole airport to look like Terminal C. And we got picked up by MCO to Disney, MCO to Disney, and they were there waiting for us to pick us up. They helped with the luggage, which was super helpful because we had a lot of luggage and a stroller and Juniper and just all of our carry-on bags. Oh, we were able to gate check our carry-on, so we really only carried on like our personal items to the flight, which was super helpful because we just had a lot. And if you haven't watched our packing video, you'll see how much we packed. So then they picked us up, and with MCO to Disney, you get a free grocery stop. There's two different places. There's a Publix and a Target. And usually when we've done the like airport pickups, we usually just ask them to stop at the gas station by the boardwalk because we don't like to order beer through like the delivery services because you have to usually be waiting to show your ID and like the timing of that. So we just had them, we asked if we could do the boardwalk stop, and they were like, no, that'll be an extra $25. If you want to do a stop, you have to do one of the free ones. So no problem. We did the Target pickup, and that was super convenient. We picked up beer for Dan for Fort Wilderness. We picked up the beer that he was going to bring onto the cruise. We picked up all of our groceries. And we usually use Walmart Plus and have everything like our groceries delivered to the resort. I do like the Target one a little bit better because Walmart, if they're out of stock of something, they will literally just say, "Oh, you're sorry, like there's nothing we can do. You don't get your bread or whatever you ordered." Whereas Target, if they're out of stock, you can just place another order for pickup, and they'll just combine them all together, so you're not without something that you needed. You can go like, "Oh, they don't have this bread. Let me place another order for this bread, and I will get it for my trip." So that was really convenient. But then that was quick. We just stopped there for maybe 5 minutes. They brought the stuff out, and we went over to Fort Wilderness. That's where we were staying for the first 3 nights of our trip. And this was the first time we've ever stayed at Fort Wilderness. We were super, super excited. Uh, I was kind of confused how that would all work because I know that like you're not really supposed to drive through the resort. I guess you can if you have a car, but you're not really supposed to like drive to the back to go to like Hoop-de-Doo. I've just never done it before. And every time I watched a vlog, everybody would always show like the RV check-in, which doesn't look like much other than like a place where cars can drive through, which it is. But there's a separate check-in desk. So that's where we went over to, and our cabin wasn't ready yet, which was fine. And we were just shy of the golf cart check-in time, I think was 11 a.m. We were like 10:30 pulling up, or no, was it 1? No, it was 1 p.m. and it was 12:30, which was fine. Our plan was to head over to Epcot anyway, so we did a quick change in the bathrooms. I will say I wish I would have thought through more of what we would need to go to the park that day. Like we pretty much had bare minimum. We survived and we were fine, but like Dan didn't really have, I don't think he even brought his park bag. He didn't have a charger. He didn't have a poncho. He didn't have like anything. He literally had his wallet and his phone and the clothes he was wearing. And that was it. I don't know what he was thinking because he had his park bag pretty much packed in his backpack, but it was kind of like it's always stressful when you like show up and you have to change and grab things out of your suitcases. Like I had to go back into the Bell Services luggage area like 3 times for things for Juniper. Like I forgot to grab her bottles. I forgot to grab her diaper bag. I forgot to like we were both kind of between getting up early and just getting there and having to get everything situated. It was kind of like a, oh my God, what did we even bring? We had enough for Juniper. Like we had some snacks, but not a lot. Actually, I don't even think I had any snacks for her. Yeah, I didn't even grab any snacks for Juniper. So we had literally just like milk for her, diapers, and then I had one charger, and that was pretty much it. We had like nothing, but we made do. And I didn't even have her rain cover for her stroller. That was the one that I was like most stressed about because I was like, oh, if it rains, like we have a whole trip, we're gonna have to like dry out this stroller. Thankfully, it didn't rain that day. We didn't see rain the whole trip, like at all, other than 10 minutes on Lookout Key, which was crazy for a Florida summer trip to not see rain. Unheard of. I think it rained while we were on the cruise, but we didn't see rain the whole time. Pretty nuts. But yeah, then we went to Epcot and we had lunch at Garden Grill, which was Farmer Mickey, Chip and Dale, and Pluto. And we walked in, they pretty much sat us right away, which was nice because Garden Grill's closer to the front of the park, so it wasn't like a super long trek through Epcot to get to the park or to get to where we were eating. And we were all pretty hungry at that point. I mean, we had been traveling all day and only had breakfast at like 6 in the morning, so we were all ready for some lunch. And that was a super fun experience. Juniper really like, she was standoffish at first. Like okay, these characters are back again. What am I going to do with them? She loves watching them on TV. She loves seeing them in the vlogs. But for whatever reason, when they get close to her, she's like, whoa. But I think this trip we turned her around because by the end of the trip, she was super excited to see Chip and Dale at the end. But she loved seeing the characters. She loved taking pictures with them, and they were all really like great to meet with. The only thing is, I had bought like a signature book. Completely forgot to pull that out. So they did come around a couple more times. So if I saw like, I think we got Mickey and Pluto to sign the autograph book after the fact, but I'm just not great at the autograph book. I think we're gonna have to wait to do the autograph book again until she's older and can say like, "Mom, I want them to sign my autograph book," because I just don't remember to do it. And she's so little. Like, does she care? No. So we'll probably save that for like a future thing down the road. But for now, um, just meeting the characters is fun for her. We had so much fun meeting them, and they were all super great. And but I will say the meets were very quick. Like it was like bing bang boom, meet Mickey for a couple seconds, and he was on his way. But they did come around a lot, so it was like a quick meet. But then you got to see them more than once, which was nice. I don't need a super long meet, but I did notice that it was like, oh, okay, we're already done. Okay, bye. And so after Garden Grill, we went to Living with the Land, and that was fun. We had a lightning lane for that. And then I think after Living with the Land, we went over to Finding Nemo. I booked a lightning lane for that one too, just because it was right there and air conditioned. Figured we could go to the aquarium after and see the fishies. And that was a fun ride, although the Finding Nemo ride makes me very motion sick, especially with the heat. And that EAC part, I have to close my eyes. Like I just can't even, I just don't even have the ability to keep my eyes open in that part. So I don't, I don't enjoy that ride, but Juniper liked it. So after we went to Finding Nemo, then I think we went over to, where did we go? Oh, I think after Finding Nemo, that's when we went to the like Goofy, whatever that's called. Um, we went over to the Goofy summer stand and picked up the snacks there because we had some snack credits. We were on the dining plan, so we used our sit down at Garden Grill, and then we went to the Goofy thing and we got the Goofy fishy slushy, and Dan got a beer, and then I think we also got something else. Oh, I got a pop. And I will say we used two snack credits for the Diet Coke and the Goofy's drink. Um, which I kind of was like, do I use them? Do I not use them? Because it's so early in the trip. But I feel like we could have even used more snack credits. We ended up having two snack credits at the end of our Fort Wilderness stay that we didn't even use. So I was happy that I was kind of using them as we went along because it's so easy to forget about using the snack credits. And people will be like, well, I don't want to use them for like a soda or a water. Just use them. Like, unless you specifically know that on this Epcot day, we're going to use 6 snack credits, just use them because you don't want to be left at the end with snack credits that you've definitely already paid for. So you got to use them. But then after that, Juniper had fallen asleep like when we were in line for the Goofy stuff, which I was going to share the Goofy slushy with her, which was fine. Dan and I shared it. But she fell asleep. So we went and sat in like that little garden area that they've just recently added. And that was really fun. And we just sat there and she took her nap. And then after that, I think that's when we headed over to the Frozen ride because that was like a high priority for us. And we had so much fun on the Frozen ride. She again once made her face like, it was so cute. She loves that ride so, so much. Um, and then we walked around the Frozen gift shop and we are like, okay, you can pick something out because my parents had given her like a gift card to buy something and some money. And man, she could have bought that whole store. She was like, can I get this? Can I get this? Well, we ended up giving her the two things that she picked out first. It was like a little Bruni and a little Olaf. But she definitely could have bought like everything in that store. She even wanted, she sleeps with a Elsa stuffy doll every night, and she definitely could have bought, she wanted to buy another one of those. I'm like, we don't need a second Elsa. She already sleeps with 2 baby Yodas. We don't need a second Elsa to then have to sleep with 4 stuffed animals every night. So we kind of limited her to what she could get there, but she could have gone crazy. And then after that, we were all getting pretty like hot and tired, and it was getting towards the end of the day. So we headed over to our original plan was to eat at the was it the fish and chips over in UK, but there's nowhere to eat inside. And there's really not a lot of shade cover over there, and we were all pretty hot. So we were like, let's go to Regal Eagle. We haven't eaten there ever. So we went there and we waited forever to get our food. And Juniper was hot, I was hot, Dan was hot. Like the food was fine, and Juniper really wanted a bottle, which I forgot that she had not had her afternoon bottle. So we kind of struggled through that meal, but the food was fine, and it was just enough to get us to like enough energy to get out of the park. And so after we ate, we decided like, okay, it's time to go. And we did consider taking a minivan lift from like Beach Club because we were all the way in the back of the park. But it would have been, I think, $40. And Dan was like, by the time we get the minivan, it would just be faster just to get to the front of the park and get on the bus. And so that's what we did. We just got to the front of the park and got in the bus. It was a long walk though, because Juniper was refusing to go in her stroller at that point. So Dan and I had to switch on and off, carrying her from the back of Epcot to the buses. But we made it. And thankfully a bus was waiting for us. Like I literally were walking up, I'm like, oh, that's our bus. So I booked it ahead and got us to, or told the bus driver, like, we're coming, we're coming. So we got on that bus. Yeah, we love Frozen around here. That is a big, we're big fans. And then it was time to go back to Fort Wilderness and finally go to our cabin. And we didn't request anything for the cabin. There is one section, one loop, I should say, close to the Magic Kingdom boat docks. And we kind of considered like, should we request it? Should we not request it? But the whole point of getting the golf cart was that we'd be able to drive the golf cart. So we didn't want to be close to anything. So we didn't request it. And we were in the 2600 loop, which I think is like one of the popular loops. So we ended up in a good spot. We were all the way at the back of the loop, but that was fine because we didn't like, it was very quiet back where we were. And so we got our golf cart when we got back to the resort, or back, yeah, to the resort. It's probably around like 8:39. Like it was pretty late by the time we got back, even though we felt like we left early. Like nothing is fast in Disney. And we got a golf cart and we just made the little short ride over to our cabin. I will say I was worried about like where are we supposed to put the stroller on the golf cart. Like I packed a bungee cord. We didn't even end up really needing it because the stroller kind of just stuck between the back seat and the pole on the back of the golf cart. Uh, so if you have a smaller stroller, you might have problems, but we didn't have any issues like keeping it on the back of the golf cart. And we got to the cabin. The cabin was beautiful. If you haven't checked out the room tour over on our YouTube, we have the full room tour once we've already lived in it for like a day or two up on our YouTube channel, but we loved it. Juniper made herself right at home. She like climbed up on the little bunk bed on the bottom bunk, and we just had a really great time. The next day was our full rest day, and we started off by taking the golf cart over to Trails End to have, we thought we were going to get breakfast. By the time we got there, it was almost lunch, so we just stayed for lunch, and the lunch was really good. We went to the pool. Juniper loved the pool. We went to the quiet pool. There was like a quiet pool literally like right across from our loop. And then that night we had intended to go to the Chippendale campfire, which I'll get to in a second, but we ended up going to Geyser Point for dinner, and we used a sit down credit there. So lounges are sit down credits, if you didn't know. I don't think it was worth the sit down credit for Geyser Point, but on our rest days, we really tried to just stay as close as possible to the resort that we're staying at. And my biggest complaint with Fort Wilderness is that there's not a lounge or one table service credit to eat at. So Hoop-Dee-Doo is 2 credits, Trails End is a quick service, and what's the other one? Crockett's Tavern is a lounge, but it doesn't take the dining plan. So we had to leave the resort to go somewhere to eat. We could have done like a 2 sit down credit at like Magic Kingdom or Epcot, but we didn't really want to do that. We wanted to just use the sit down credit we already paid for to have dinner that night. So that's why we went to Wilderness Lodge and had dinner at Geyser Point, which was fine. Like we enjoyed the boat ride. We love Wilderness Lodge. We enjoyed walking around Wilderness Lodge. But I don't think it was worth the sit down credit. So I don't know. I'm hoping that when Lakeview opens, they'll get like a 1 table service credit, which would be just walking distance from Fort Wilderness. So That was my only complaint about Fort Wilderness, but we did enjoy our night over at Geyser Point. We walked around Wilderness Lodge, went to the arcade, went in their gift shop, walked around the resort, and then by the time we got back to Fort Wilderness, it was around the time that the campfire would have been happening. But I guess I never looked up how long the campfire was. I thought it would have gone at least until it was dark out. I didn't realize it only goes 45 minutes, which makes sense for something that they do every single night, weather permitting, at Fort Wilderness. I don't know what I was thinking, but I was like, oh, we have time. We had to go get some stuff from like the gift shop, get like milk and stuff. So we went and did all of our errands first and then went to the campfire, which by that point, the campfire was long over. Um, whoops. At least Juniper's not old enough to know what she missed out on, and not the end of the world that we missed out on the campfire. I also don't know that she's old enough to really understand that she can't go play with Chippendale and she can't go play with the fire. So it's probably a good thing that we didn't get to the campfire. But we did walk around the area. We saw what the campfire looked like and went to that market right there. So we had a fun night. It just wasn't what we planned, which was fine. And then the next day was kind of a half rest day, half Magic Kingdom day. It was just so hot to be in the parks all day. Like, it was just impossible, especially with a toddler. Juniper was 22 months at the time of this trip, so she's young and like the heat really gets to her. We're not from Florida, so we're not used to that kind of heat. But we did spend the first half of the day. We went and got breakfast, and then Juniper took her nap in the Fort Wilderness cabin. We really liked having the cabin space because we would put her pack and play in like the bedroom area while she napped. So that meant we had the whole living room, the kitchen, the bathroom, the porch, all for Dan and I to like enjoy while she napped. And then once she was up and we were ready to go, we headed over to Magic Kingdom. I originally had planned to put our Magic Kingdom day on the first day, but I'm glad I switched it because again, having the golf cart, I wanted to be able to drive the golf cart to the docks. That way we could actually park our golf cart there and just hop on the boat and head to Magic Kingdom. So I was happy I switched those days around, and it was a hot one. And thankfully, a one of the bigger boats pulled up, which means that we didn't have to fold up the stroller to get on that boat. But we made the short ride over to Magic Kingdom, and like I said, it was hot. We did Jungle Cruise right off the bat, and Juniper had never done. It was like all new stuff for Juniper that night. We did Jungle Cruise, which she really liked. I had avoided it up until this point because I didn't know when she was little, would she even see the animals? Like if she cried, we're stuck on this boat with people. She's not really a crier in that way, but I just had visions of like a really bad experience on Jungle Cruise up until this point, but she loved it. So we did Lightning Lane for Jungle Cruise, and then at that point, I think it was time for dinner. So we went over to the plaza and we had dinner there, which was delicious. And Juniper decided she doesn't like high chairs anymore. So she sat on a chair for the first time and she did a really good job. So pretty much the whole rest of the trip, we just put her on chairs because she's decided she's too grown for high chairs. Since we've been home, she's been okay with the high chair, but on the trip, she was like, nope, I need a chair, which is fine. So we did the plaza, and then after the plaza, we did Tomorrowland Speedway. Yeah, she is Miss Independent and getting to that terrible twos, independence, learning her independence age. So, but it was fun that she uh, is growing up so much. Like, I just can't believe it. So we tried to give her those things that we could give her that were still safe for her to do. And then we went over to Tomorrowland Speedway, which would be her first time ever doing a ride where there's a height requirement. 32 inches. She technically could have done it on our May trip when I went with my mom and my sister, but Dan really wanted her to wait for him to do that ride. And I'm so glad we waited because she loved riding with her dada. And I thought that I would be able to ride with them, but I had to ride in the one in front of them. I couldn't even see her little face. Like she was so in the car, but it was so cute. She had so much fun and got to drive her car. Dan did the pedal, obviously, but she had a lot of fun on that ride. And then after Tomorrowland Speedway, we basically just did not all Fantasyland, but we kind of just followed the path to the trains. We did the Speedway, then I got her a driver's license, and then we did the Teacups, Dumbo. I think that was it. Did we do anything else? I think those were all the rides we did there. And then like Dumbo's right outside the train station. So, and the train station only runs now from Fantasyland Station to Main Street. So I was like, well, we're already back here. Let's just hop on the train. We timed it pretty well too because it's only going back and forth. If you miss it, you have to wait for the train to go all the way to the front and all the way back. So it's kind of not super effective if you're not catching it at the right time. We caught it at the right time. It was on its way back. I think we only waited like 5 minutes to get on the train. Um, so it wasn't a bad wait, and it was a nice, easy ride back to the front. Hopped on the boat back to Fort Wilderness, and just spent our last night in the cabin. I do wish we had more time at the cabins. Like we could see ourselves doing like a week long stay at the cabins. I'd like to do it at like Halloween time or Christmas time so we could see all the decorations and go looping, as people say. But I think that would be so much fun to do a trip like that. So I think we're going to look into that probably in like future years. But we did really, really enjoy our Fort Wilderness stay. I could see it being annoying if we had spent more time though trying to get to the other parks, but I don't know. I guess it would have been fine because you just take your golf cart up to the bus station. You can park your golf cart at the bus station and hop on a bus and go do what you need to do. So all in all, I think it would be a really fun stay to do for a whole long trip. But and then the next morning was our cruise embarkation day. And so if you've never done a cruise and had like a Disney transportation, they send you a letter like a couple days before in your email and they'll say, hey, on such and such date, we're going to have your luggage picked up from your room at 7 a.m. Please be in the lobby at like 9:15, 9:30, whatever time they say. And that's that. So we got the email. It said that they'd start picking up our luggage at 7 a.m., which I was kind of like, how are we going to hear them? Because we're in the bedroom. There's no doorbell. Like, are we even going to hear them knock? So I woke up around like 7:05 and I hadn't heard anybody knock. So just started getting up and getting ready and getting the last minute things packed. And like the longer they were taking to come get the luggage, we were like, well, let's just throw more stuff into the luggage so we don't have to carry it onto the ship with us. Because we had like a day bag of like Juniper stuff, things that we would need. And so we're just like throwing stuff in, and then our phone rings, and I think they forgot that they had to come get our luggage. I always thought Disney Cruise Line sent people, but I think it's just the hotel bell services that they send. So at like 7:50, they called us and they're like, "Are you getting picked up for a cruise today?" And we're like, "Yeah, we are." They're like, "Okay, we'll send somebody to come get your luggage." So they didn't come get our luggage until 7:50. So Dan and I were like, "Oh, maybe they like did knock and we missed it and they went and did everybody else's luggage." Oh no, they just forgot to come get our luggage, which was fine. But because we got to put more stuff into the luggage before they picked us up. But we were the only people who got picked up from Fort Wilderness. So I think they probably just don't get a lot of people who do like a Fort Wilderness stay before the cruise. So I think they're maybe not used to doing that, but it all worked out in the end. Our luggage did take a long time to get to our stateroom though that afternoon. Like we were probably one of the last people to get our luggage, and we're like, did they not get our luggage to the ship? Like, what do we do? We don't have any clothes because we threw everything into the suitcases. We didn't have Juniper's like stuffed animals. So that was the other thing that I wish that I would have not done was pack up like anything that Juniper absolutely needs. Like I was thinking more so medications, but I should have thought of her stuffed animals, like her two baby Yodas and her Elsa. They should have been with us getting on the ship. Thankfully, it all showed up, but could have been bad. And probably should have had our outfits for dinner in our um, suitcases because if they hadn't shown up, we would have been wearing the same thing we wore to get on a ship, which would have been fine. But we had outfits planned, so might as well have them with us. And then that first night was dinner at Animator's Palette on the ship, which we got through. Like, so it was a 5-night cruise on the Disney Magic, and the first night is considered just like a welcome dinner. It's not any of like the specific dining rotations. So our rotation was Animator's Palette, 2 nights at Rapunzel's Round Table, 1 night at Lumiere's, and then the last night would be Animator's Palette again. So the first night was just a welcome dinner. And we got through appetizers, bread course, soup, and then Juniper was just done. She did not want to be at that dinner anymore. And we had already ordered our food. And so I took her out for a walk thinking like, oh, we'll just go for a walk and we'll come back in and eat. Well, when we came back in, she did not want to be at dinner anymore. She just was crying. So I took her and I went back up to the room, and the servers were really nice. They just packaged up our food and we could take it up to the room and we ate it in our stateroom, which ended up being a nice dinner because the water was passing us by and it was a really great view out of our stateroom on our veranda. Um, but we were kind of looking at each other like, uh-oh, is she going to make it through any dinner? Like at this point, we hadn't been on any ship dinners. Like, is she going to make it through this, like any of these dinners? Thankfully she did, but it was kind of like, oh no, what did we do? Oh, I forgot to mention we also did the sailing a wave party on the deck. So when we did the muster drill, I kind of blocked out the muster drill. We went down for the muster drill and it was fine. Like we were on a side, we were facing away from the sun and we had shade above us. So it was hot, but it wasn't like unbearably hot. And the one cast member in front of us, he was like playing around with Juniper. And so when the muster drill was over, they looked like she basically got us a fast pass out of the muster drill. They're like, okay, you can go. We're like, what? Like, they're like, you can go. So we got to like scurry out of the muster drill. So we ran up to the stateroom. I forget what we needed. We must have needed something. We stopped in the stateroom, grabbed what we needed, and we scurried back up to the deck to get a good spot for the sail wave party. And we got a spot like in the shade because I don't know how people were standing in the direct sun for that show because it was hot. But Juniper loved it. She was dancing and having a good time. But yeah, then we went to dinner and that went how it went. But we called it an early night that night. We figured everybody was just probably tired. It had been a long day. I mean, we had gotten up early for the luggage to get picked up that didn't get picked up and had to get on the ship. And it's a whole set of new stuff for her. It's not her first cruise, but she's a toddler. So I don't think she really remembers from when she sailed at 11 months old. So a lot of it, I think, was her just wanting to explore the ship. Because when I took her out of the restaurant the first time, and she was like running down the hall, galloping away, having a great time. I think she just wanted to run and climb the stairs and do what she wanted to do. She was like, I don't want to be stuck in this stuffy dinner. Like, what is this? And it wasn't even the fun animator's palette dinner. So I don't really blame her. So it ended up being fine. We did call it an early night and didn't like go and do anything that night. Dan had told me like, if you want to like go back out and do something, like by all means go. And I was just like, no, I'm fine. Kind of wish I had, but because I mean, Juniper has her dad, but I think she would have been upset if I had left. So I couldn't really go. But we had a great first night. And then the next day was Nassau. And we don't tend to get off in Nassau. Dan and I have only gotten off in Nassau once. It was only one time. Yeah, once. The first cruise we ever did, we did the Atlantis excursion, which I'm glad we did it when we did it. That was our first anniversary cruise or first anniversary trip. And it was our first Disney cruise ever. We were on the Dream. We did Atlantis. It's just so expensive. And at Juniper's age, like we're not going to be able to get to do anything on Atlantis. So not really sure there's a point. So we didn't get off in Nassau, and our friends on the cruise last time when we sailed when Juniper was 11 months old, they went off. I forget the name of the hotel. There's a hotel that's like right a walking distance down from where the cruises all dock, and they went there and paid for like a day pass. But with how Juniper was the night before, I'm like, I don't think I want to waste $200 for her to not be able to do what we're going to do. So we'll just stay on the ship, which I'm so glad that we did because the pool area was closed pretty much the whole day at sea, like shut down for whatever reason, like the area that Juniper could go in. So I'm glad that we had that first day that she could experience the pool and the splash pad area. I will say, I think the Magic and probably the Wonder, I have never been on the Wonder, but I assume it's probably the same because the Magic is the sister ship. It is very much lacking. Like, they need to spend some money and update that splash pad area. Like, compared to the Wish, it is not good. There's not much for toddlers to do. So that was the only thing that Juniper was fine. We kept ourselves busy. We had a good day, but it was definitely lacking. Um, just give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Okay. Hopefully Juniper stays asleep. But yeah, the splash pad was definitely not what I was expecting. And I had looked at pictures of the splash pad, and online it looked great. And then in person, it was not so great. But other than loving Disney and wanting to go on these vacations, part of the reason I do these vacations is so as a travel agent, I can go like, if you have toddlers, don't go on this ship. If you have toddlers, go on this ship. Like we love the Wish, and we can't wait to go on the Treasure. We did book the $250 deposit for 10% off of a future cruise, and my goal is to book a Treasure sailing, probably with the next round of sailings that will come out. But that's what I really want to do next, or the Destiny. I haven't seen what the Destiny really looks like, but either of those ships, like I think we're just a newer ship family, if you catch my drift. The Magic was nice, but the AC was also pretty much lacking in a lot of like commonplace areas. It was not great in our room. It was not great in cabanas. It was not great on or in the theaters. Like definitely felt the oldness of that ship. Like I've never been hot on a ship, and we were hot pretty much everywhere. But it wasn't terrible. It just wasn't as cooling as I was expecting. Like I brought so many hoodies because usually I'm so cold in the room on the ship, especially at night, that like, oh, let me throw a hoodie on. No, no, no. No hoodies needed for this trip. And those have been summer trips too. So it's not even like we're used to sailing in December and sailing in the summer. These have all been summer sailings. Um, so Nassau, we stayed on the ship, and then that day was our anniversary, which that was probably my favorite day of the whole. No, maybe my favorite dinner, because I really Lookout was like my favorite day, but my favorite dinner was definitely that night with Rapunzel's Royal Table. That's when they did Rapunzel's birthday party, and Rapunzel and Flynn, and then the what does she call them? I can't think of not hooligans. I can't think of the word, but the people who are in the Snuggly Duckling Tavern were there, and it was just a super fun night. Juniper loved seeing the characters. She loves Rapunzel. She loves Flynn. They both came over to our table and were super nice, interacted with her, and took pictures. And I think that helped Juniper actually want to stay for the whole meal and kind of turn things around for us. And it was just a really great meal, um, and show and everything and all that. And then after that, we went and met. Was it Mickey? Who did we meet? Donald Duck? I think we met Donald Duck, but the line was so long. Oh my God. Such a long line for Donald Duck. But she loved meeting him, and we had a really great meet with him. And but since it took so long, we were kind of like cutting it close to get a spot for the Tangled show that they do, which I really wanted to see. And somehow we got lucky. We walked in, and then one of the cast members was telling people like move over. We got 3 seats on the end of a row, which was great. And the show was amazing. I'm surprised that more people don't talk well about that show. I feel like I've heard people complain that it's not a great show. But we loved the Tangle show, and I love when they did the lanterns. Like the lantern people were in the audience and like had the lanterns over us, and Juniper was just in awe of everything. So I think people need to give that a little bit more credit than they do. But we really liked the show, and then we were one of the first people out of the show. I think we might have left before like the cruise director came out and talked to the audience, and we were able to get like one of the first. We were like one of the first people in line to get a picture with the Tangled lantern, which I really wanted to do. I still need to make a TikTok of that. I wanted to post like all of our anniversary pictures because we took a picture with the Tangled lantern on our first anniversary. We did like a whole fun day on our first anniversary. We did the Highway in the Sky dine around. We did after hours party. We did a cabana at yacht club. Like we spent some money that day. But yeah, I need to post all those pictures because I really wanted to get the lantern picture, and I had intended to do it in Magic Kingdom when we were there the night before our cruise. Completely forgot to, so I was like, oh, that's annoying. But that was okay because we got to take one on our anniversary, so it was even better. Um, and then the next day was Castaway Key, which the weather was a little gloomy, which was fine. It kept it kind of cooler in the air. Um, and we did walk from the ship over to the family beach, which our goal there was to see if like we can carry Juniper from the ship to the beach because we knew Lookout was the next day and we might have to uh, carry her the whole way, which we didn't have to. Um, so that was a good day, although Juniper definitely was struggling with wanting to do what she wanted to do, which we didn't know what she wanted to do. She had a couple meltdowns that day, but mostly she just wanted to play in the sand and go swimming in the ocean. So once we got the life vest on her, it was fine. She did great in the ocean. She was swimming around. She had so much fun. She ended up taking a nap on me on the beach. We had lunch at Cookies 2, I think it was. Cookies, one of the cookies. Food was really good. Um, but it was hot that day. And for whatever reason, my sunscreen just always rolls into my eyes at Castaway and it drives me absolutely crazy. But I was able to like wipe it off and be better the second half of the day. Um, so Castaway was really fun. I wish the sun would have been out a little bit more just for photo sake, but for like enjoying it sake, it was actually a really good day at Castaway. Because if it gets too hot, it's like too much, especially with the sun. And then that night was dinner again at Rapunzel's, but it was pirate night. So it was pirate night menu, which was really good. We didn't really do any of the pirate night activities. Like I looked on the Navigator app and they didn't have like a early pirate show. When we were on the Wish, they did like a pirate show right after dinner on the pool deck. So I didn't see anything like that. We kind of just met some characters that night and just walked around. Um, and we went back to the room pretty early that night. That might have been the night we tried. Yeah, we tried the It's a Small World nursery that night. That didn't go well. We really wanted to see if she would be okay in It's a Small World nursery, so we brought her, and she lasted maybe 20 minutes, but I think she cried probably most of that. So we just canceled all the rest of the times that we had booked and said, okay, we tried. We did sit on the deck and watch the water go by while she was in there, but we should have gone and had a drink, but we felt too guilty. So, and then the next day was Lookout, and that was the main reason we booked this cruise. Well, the main reason was that I wanted to go to both islands because I thought that I would be upset missing Castaway Key on a Disney cruise. Come to find out, I love Lookout. I would be fine going to either island, both islands if I can, but if I can go to either one, I'm fine. But my biggest worry with Lookout was that big long pier, and I think the optics of it make it look worse than it actually is because A, it wasn't a bad walk. B, we did get a wagon. They had plenty of wagons, and they were bringing more wagons back to where the ship was when we were walking down the path. I think if you go to Disney and you're used to walking from your room to a bus or the bus into the parks, I don't think it's any longer than that. It's just the view of just this single path with no shade really that makes it look bad. But there was a water stop, there was an umbrella that you could stop and stand under if you were really getting overheated. Um, I just, and then at the end of the pier, I think they gave us like cooling towels. Like we really didn't think it was bad. And then the tram to the other side of the island, like, yeah, it definitely took time to get from the ship to the beach. Like, I think all in all, it's like a 30-minute adventure, but it was a fun adventure. We had fun. We got to take pictures and see the ship and the beautiful, like, the water is so turquoise blue. I've never seen anything like it in my life. And to be honest, between the 2 days, like, if we're going to have a cloudy day, I'm glad it was our Castaway day and not our Lookout day because I think it just made such a difference to have a beautifully sunny day for Lookout. I will say also we had a breeze when we were walking down the pier, so that could have also helped our situation. But I imagine it's the water, it's the ocean. There's got to be at least a little breeze most of the time. So that's just our 2 cents. That walk's not going to keep us from ever going back to Lookout. Like, I would be happy to go to Lookout tomorrow or on every cruise going forward. We felt like Lookout felt more of like a vacation destination. Like, Castaway really feels like you've stumbled upon a like an abandoned island and you're just getting to hang out on this private island for the day, where Lookout to me feels very intentional, feels very built up, which some people might like Castaway's vibe more than Lookout, but like, there's a splash pad that Juniper could run around, and we just had a really great day at Lookout. And we didn't get a umbrella chair on the beach. We were up on like the sand dunes, which was fine because Juniper wanted to climb up and down those stairs 500 times anyway. So we would just walk up and go say hi to Dan, go back down, go in the water, go back up, say hi to Dan over and over. But there was plenty of seats, and the beach there is just so beautiful, so pristine, so like just the most beautiful beach I've ever been to in my life. And I thought Castaway was that up until we went to Lookout. So really loved that. Loved all of the food there. We didn't have any issues with flies, which was another concern of mine, but didn't experience any issues with flies. All the cast members were great. Getting back to the ship, so we left. We wanted to get back so Juniper could nap before dinner. And I think we ended up leaving we got up and changed. We put her into like a new comfy, dry outfit. And that was, by the time we did all that, it was like 3:10. I don't think we got back to the ship until like 4. So that was pretty crazy. But it didn't feel like it took that long. It just took that long from getting from the bathrooms to the tram and then back over to the front of the where you have to walk on the pier. We did get the last wagon heading back to the ship. Like, if you're looking for wagons, like, they usually have them all lined up like near the tram. We found a couple wagons sitting like abandoned over by like a disability drop off. Like, so I'm assuming people just who had disabilities used them and then left them there. So if you're looking for a wagon, use your eyes, look around, ask cast members, because they might know of one that's not really in the spot that it should be. And then that night we had dinner at Lumiere's, and that was a really great dinner. Juniper and I wore like Belle-inspired dresses and was really cute. We walked around the ship, and they had like a dance, or no, we went and took pictures on the upper decks, like with the sunset. I always like doing that at least one night on a cruise, so I'm glad we did it that night because I don't think we had time the next night to do it. And then we went back down, and they were doing like a dance party in the main lobby. We caught the end of it, but Juniper enjoyed just kind of playing with the kids that were still there and the confetti that was all over the ground. I will say I thought that the atrium was going to feel super tiny, like when we were there. I thought it was going to feel like, oh my God, this ship's so small. Never felt like that in the atrium. Like, it's still big, it's still beautiful. So I wouldn't worry about the ship feeling too small. And in fact, the ship's size never bothered us. Like, it was nice that we were midship. We could get to aft, which is most of the time where we were heading, in like a few seconds. It really wasn't a bad walk any direction. So I did like that aspect of the magic. And then the next day was our day at sea. And with our day at sea, we were kind of just milling around, trying to find things to do. We woke up and we had breakfast, which the breakfast had the Mickey churro heads, waffles, or whatever they're called. They were okay. I mean, I'm not a waffle person, so don't take my word for it. They were better than normal waffles, in my opinion, but they were okay. I don't know. I enjoyed like the eggs Benedict that they had more so than the churro waffles, but they were also good. And then after that, we went back up to the room, and I realized that I had booked the Princess Royal Gathering, I think for 11 15. And I was like, oh no, like I forgot that we booked this. So Dan ended up staying in the room, and Juniper and I went down and did the Princess Royal Gathering, which, if you didn't know, you book that 30 days ahead of time, regardless of your status on Disney Cruise. It drops right at midnight. So if you're not looking, it's not 7 a.m., it's midnight Eastern Standard Time. And it's really, really hard to get, but we were able to get it. And so once it popped up, I'm like, I'm not letting this pass. Like, Juniper and I are going to meet the princesses. What I forgot though when we went down there is that it's usually like 5 princesses, and we only had 3. Not really sure if the magic only does 3 because the atrium's not as big and there's not really room to fit 5 princesses. But we met Cinderella, Belle, and Rapunzel, which, happy about that. The only one I thought might have been there was Ariel, like in her land dress, and that's what I had put Juniper in, was like a little pink Ariel outfit, and I had an Ariel shirt on, but I guess we could be the Ariel to those princesses. But we enjoyed that meet and greet, and it was really, really cute. And then after that, that's when we went to the pool deck, and the pool was completely closed. So not really sure. Well, we got to go swimming for like, I don't know, 10 minutes. And then I went upstairs to put my phone with Dan because I had taken some pictures of Juniper in the pool. Went back upstairs, put the phone down, went back down, put a life vest on her because I originally put her in without a life vest that day and was like, I don't really like this. So I put the life vest on her, and then we turn around and they're closing the pool. So we went to like the splash pad area, and then they closed that too. So I don't know what happened. I don't know if somebody had an accident in the pool and they had to close it and clean it. It's possible. Is there actually a spider on my head? Or are you just talking about my ears? Hopefully there's not a spider on my head. Hi guys. But yeah, so we didn't really get to go in the pool that day. Juniper ended up taking a really long nap on my chest that afternoon, and we got to just watch the water go by. So that was really nice that she was chill enough to just take a nap on me. We didn't have to like sit in the room the whole time she was napping. So that worked out really, really well. And then for dinner that night, it was the Animator's Palette, but it was like the real Animator's Palette dinner. So we really enjoyed that dinner. Like, our servers made sure that we didn't like scurry out, because we would kind of just get our dessert and be like, okay, we're done, bye. Get us our check for any alcohol we bought. But they made sure we stayed because they did like a whole show at the end, and the servers were all walking out, and Sorcerer Mickey was there, which I don't know if I knew that Sorcerer Mickey came out at the end of that meal, or I must have known. Subconsciously I knew because I wore my Sorcerer Mickey ears that night. So that was a really fun meal, and just to get to see Mickey walking around, Juniper really loved that. And then that afternoon Juniper and I met Chip and Dale too. So we had a pretty good afternoon meeting characters. But that night, what did we do that night? Oh, we went to see the show. We went to the Soul Cat Cafe, which, because Dan had bought the beer mug, and at that point he had used it a couple times, so he just token. Hi Tony. So we had to get his token turned in so he could get a beer mug to bring home. We went to the Soul Cat Cafe, and the beer mug that they had wasn't the one that he originally got. The one he originally got was different than one that we've already gotten a couple times, and we're like, oh great, you get like this new cool mug that's different than what we already have. We already have 2 or 3 at home, and the one that they gave him was one we already have. And we're like, oh, great. So I told Dan, I said, why don't you go walk to the adults only section? Maybe they have different ones over there. So he went over to the after hours area, and I forget which bar he went to, but one of them had the actual mug that we were looking for. So he was able to get the mug that he wanted to bring home instead of just like the one that we've already had. So I don't know why some of the bars have one mug and then other ones have different mugs, but at least he got the one that we wanted to bring home. Hi, I'm good, Heather. How are you? Just reliving Disney because I want to be back already. If I could go right now, I would. So yeah, he got his mug, and then after I had a drink in the Soul Cat Cafe while he ran and got that. Juniper just stayed with me, and then after that, we went and saw whatever the show was that night. It's the Magic's like main show that they're known for. They've won awards for. In my opinion, it wasn't that great, and Juniper was like falling asleep halfway through it, so we just left. And then we stopped in like the gift shops on the way back to the room, and I got a couple things. But yeah, there wasn't really, I don't know. It spent too much time with like people who are not real Disney characters, in my opinion. It was about like going to bed and dreaming and stuff, which it could have been cute. I don't know. I just wasn't my favorite, and I usually enjoy the non like the ones that aren't based on Tangled or Beauty and the Beast. Like I usually enjoy the shows that they come up with, like the one on the Wish the first night last time. Like I think it's CZ Adventure, whatever it's called. Love that show. Just this one was not. I was not feeling it. We knew we had an early morning anyway because we have to get off. You have to get off the ship pretty early to like get on the buses and stuff. So we're like, okay, let's just call it a night, get everything finished up, packed up, and out the door because we did do where they take your luggage from your room, so you have to have your luggage out. I think by 10:30, our stateroom host said. So we did do that, and then the next morning was not the end of our trip. We were getting up and getting off the ship to go to Boardwalk. We've done both options, like we've done where we get off the ship and have to fly home that day. We've gone to Disney Springs and kill time. We've rented like a day room at the Hyatt to kill time. I just prefer going back to Disney after a cruise, even if it's just for one night. A, your trip's not over and you get a little bit more magic. And B, it's just nice to go back to Disney. Even if your room's not ready, like there's still something to go and do and you can drop off all your luggage. Whereas if you don't have a room, you don't have a spot to like drop off your luggage. If you go back to Disney for the afternoon. So we went back to Boardwalk, and our room was actually ready the moment we arrived to the Boardwalk, which I was shocked. I really thought we would have to wait until closer to 2 or 3 to get our room, but it was ready. And I had told Dan because originally our plan was to go and do Blizzard Beach that day because we would have gotten it for free for checking in that morning. And it's been years since I've been to Blizzard Beach, and I really think Juniper would have liked the like frozen area. And I had said if our room wasn't ready, we would go, but it was ready, and we could drop everything off. So I was like, you know what? We even walked all the way down to the buses, and the bus because you have to transfer. You can't just take a bus to Blizzard Beach. So the bus to Animal Kingdom was 20 minutes away, so which meant we would have had to take the bus to Animal Kingdom, wait for another bus for Blizzard Beach, and then get to Blizzard Beach. And we're getting close to like nap time as it is. And even a minivan was like 17, 18 minutes away, which was my backup plan. Like I thought, okay, well, if the buses take forever, we'll just get a minivan, wait 5 minutes and get back on the road. Well, that was still 17, 18 minutes away. And I'm like, okay, this is not worth it. So we just decided to eat lunch at the Boardwalk and then just use the pool at the Boardwalk. Like we're at a beautiful resort. Why are we going out of our way to just get to a water park? And my plan for that evening was to go to Hollywood Studios. And between the two parks, I would rather go to Hollywood Studios than to Blizzard Beach. So if that was going to like ruin the night, I didn't want to do it. So we skipped Blizzard Beach. Not sure that we'll get there before the whole free water park entry ends, but at least we tried. I mean, that was just not going to be like, that's what gets me sometimes with the buses in Disney. Like I get claustrophobic where I'm like, oh my God, I can't get where I want to get to in a reasonable amount of time. Like for the most part, we had really great bus luck, but that was just crazy. I really wish that with the free water park entry that they would bring back at least direct buses to the water parks. Because if it was 20 minutes to wait for a bus to Blizzard Beach, I might have waited. But 20 minutes to wait to get to Animal Kingdom, and we still have to get to Blizzard Beach, even though it's close to Animal Kingdom. That's a lot. So we went to the pool. Juniper had her nap, and then we went to Hollywood Studios that night. And when we walked in, I had not bought lightning lanes for that evening because I didn't know if we would even make it to Hollywood Studios, didn't know how the day was going to go. And I thought, well, Juniper is young enough that she might not remember because she loves Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. I was like, she might not remember the ride. Like, it will probably be okay, get away with it. Her not really needing to know what's going on. Walked in the park, immediately spots the marquee sign, and she's like, ride, ride. Thankfully, Lightning Lanes were still available. Like within, I think we bought it at 6:40. The Lightning Lane started at 6:45 for Mickey and Minnie's, so we got really, really lucky. So I just got Mickey and Minnie's, and then Aliens Swirling Saucers, which my thought had been if we did Aliens Swirling Saucers, we wouldn't need. What the heck? I thought with Aliens Flying Saucers, like we're not going to need a lightning lane. It's usually like a 5-10 minute wait. But I think because it was a Friday night, the ride had like a 30 or 40 minute wait. Like I don't know if one side was down or what, but thankfully we did have lightning lanes, so it worked out. Um, so we went and had dinner, and my goal for Hollywood Studios had been to at least see one of the new shows. I really wanted to see the Villain show, if not Villains and The Little Mermaid, but we got there so late, just with like her napping and getting to Hollywood Studios. We had walked over to the Skyliner. The Skyliner was down from Caribbean Beach to Hollywood Studios, so like you could take a bus. So then we took the boat from Epcot all the way over to Hollywood Studios, which took a while. We probably should have just walked it, but in the end, we got there. But we did miss the shows. All the shows had ended by the time we could have made Villains if we had really rushed through our dinner or skipped dinner and just gone right to the show, but we just decided to eat and not worry about the show. Not like it's the last time I'll ever be to Disney. I will get to the shows eventually, but that had been the goal for the evening. So we went and did Mickey and Minnie's, which Juniper obviously loved. And then we went over to, we had some time between then and our Aliens Swirling Saucers Lightning Lane because apparently everybody and their mother wanted to go on that ride that night. Like, that ride never has a line. And like the Lightning Lanes didn't start for like 3 hours. The line was really long. But anyway, went over to Galaxy's Edge, and Dan got a beer from Docking Bay 7, and I just got the Diet Coke, and we kind of hung out there. Um, and then after that, that's when we walked over to Toy Story Land and did the Aliens Swirling Saucers. And I was so mad at myself. I had recorded the whole ride, or thought I recorded the whole ride, and apparently I did not. There's like a new button on the uh, video, like when your face, I had it in 0.5, so I had it like turned around facing us, and my finger must have pressed the pause button. I thought I could feel something like touching, and I don't think my finger was touching. I think my finger was just close enough to make it react. But I was so sad that I didn't record that whole ride. Like, Juniper was so cute. She had her hands up. She was like squealing with so much excitement, but I'll just have to remember it in my mind's eye, I guess. Drives me crazy when phones and cameras don't work how I want them to. Um, but yeah, so we did that, and then we just left the park after that. It was getting pretty late, and the next day was going to be like our full Disney day because we really didn't have any full Disney days. I mean, it was so hot, it was hard to have full Disney days. But the next day, which we never park hop, our plan was to do Animal Kingdom in the morning and Magic Kingdom at night. And so we got up, did Animal Kingdom, did Navi, or no, we had lunch at Pizzafari because it had food that we figured Juniper would actually eat because she really did not want to eat this whole trip. I don't know if she was hot or tired or getting sick or what, but we figured Pizzafari had food that she might actually eat. So we did Pizzafari, we did Navi River Journey. Dan and I got drinks from Pangu Pangu. He got the Grog's Ale, I think, and then I got the Night Blossom. We're like, okay, let's walk over to the safari and go do that. We're walking over, and we didn't even realize Juniper fell asleep in the stroller. So when we got over there, we're like, okay, let's just sit at Tusker, the bar right outside Tusker House, and we had some drinks and finished up the drinks that we had. And by the time she woke up, then I had canceled the Lightning Lane we had for the safari and just moved it forward so we could just use it when she woke up. So we did the safari after she woke up, and then like the plan had been to kind of get everything done and then leave and have her go take the nap back in the room, which was nice that she took it in the park because then we could actually stay and enjoy the park a lot longer than we normally would have. We tried to do the Lion King show. We were literally 3 parties away from getting into the Lion King show, and we just missed it. So that was a bummer. But then the Finding Nemo show was starting in like 25 minutes. I'm like, okay, we're booking it over to Finding Nemo. Got in Finding Nemo, saw that show, and where is the AC in that show? Because it used to be so icy cold in there, and I don't know if it was just so hot out or what, but we never cooled off in there. But it was still a fun show to see. And then after Finding Nemo, the plan had been for Dan and I to both do Dinosaur with Rider Swap, but he didn't really want to ride it without me. I didn't really want to ride it without him, so we just skipped it. Um, Maybe we'll try and do it in December on our other trip before it closes. I think that's probably going to have to be a goal, but I don't know. I don't really have Animal Kingdom in our plans as of yet, so we'll see how that goes. But after we got over there, I'm like, well, let's go do the Chippendale dinosaur meet because when I tried to do it in May with Juniper, we were literally next in line, and they closed the line for thunder and lightning in the area, which was such a bummer. The cast member was nice and let me take like a quick photo with them, but it wasn't the true Chippendale meet and greet. And I'm so glad we got to do it again because Juniper loved meeting them. She ran up and she hugged them, and it was just so cute. And I'm so glad we got to do it before they like closed down that whole area and the Chippendale dinosaur meet and greet goes by the wayside. I really wish they could figure out a way to keep dinosaur in that little section without demolishing it for the new stuff. Like I'm excited for the new stuff, but like, can we just keep all of it? Like, do we have to get rid of the dinosaur ride? But I get it. It doesn't have a long line ever, so we'll see. Oh yeah, I'm so tired for the trip. So then after we did that, then we headed out of the park and went back to Boardwalk for a quick like freshen up, change, get ready for our night in the Magic Kingdom. And our goal for the Magic Kingdom was simply just to see the Starlight Parade. I had booked the Tony's Town Square for 8 p.m. The parade was at 9. And I really wanted to sit in the patio for the parade. And so we walked into the park. We got there around 6, I think. I went over to Tony's and I talked to like the host and I said, "This is our goal. Like, what do I need to do to make this happen? Like, should I check in early? Can you put a note now?" And they were like, "Well, we can't do anything now, but check in 15 minutes early and we'll put a note on there and we'll do our best." So I said, "Okay." And our friend Amanda from Pixie Dusted Days was actually in the park. She just coincidentally happened to book like a last minute trip. So we met up with them, her and her husband Alex, and we went on People Mover together, which took way longer than it normally should because it broke down so many times, like I think 3 or 4 times while we were on it. We really thought we were going to get evacuated the one time. But we did that with them, and that was super fun. But because it took so long to do that ride, that's the only thing we did in Magic Kingdom. And we could have done like Winnie the Pooh, or we had a couple Lightning Lanes booked, but there just wasn't time. So after we did that, we headed back to the front of the park and checked in for our dining reservation. I told them like, "Hey, I will wait. I don't need to sit right this second. I just want the patio." So they sat us around like 8:15, 8:20, I think it was. And when we first sat down, Juniper was so overtired and overstimulated and hot, and I didn't think we were gonna be able to stay. Like she was done. And to be fair, it's a late night for her. It's hot. She hasn't had dinner yet. Probably should have prioritized getting her like a snack or something after she woke up from her second nap at Magic Kingdom. But our waiter, he was amazing. He came over and he gave her bread and he gave her fruit and he gave her water. Like he was such a good waiter. I wish I remembered his name to like give him a cast compliment because he was amazing. And he's the only reason we got to stay for that dining reservation. She did calm down, and I kind of told her like we're here for the parade. Like the parade's gonna go by. Like she loves parades. I could take or leave a parade, but she loves watching the YouTube for the parades and stuff. So I was like, we're going to see a parade. I promise you, this is worth it. So we got all of our orders in. The food was actually really good. We got the garlic bread appetizer, which I don't know that we needed to get that, but it was good. I had no complaints about it. Um, and I ordered the chicken fettuccine dish, which Juniper gobbled down my fettuccine. So that was a huge win because, like I said, she hadn't really been eating the whole trip. Um, I guess she wanted fettuccine and chicken and all of that good stuff. So she was eating the food, and then the parade started, and we had a really good view of the parade because it comes from the firehouse and goes around up Main Street. So it was like coming right at us basically around that turn. So we really enjoyed the parade. She enjoyed the parade. I'm so glad we got to see it. I think if we could have just stayed till the 11 p.m. show, we could have probably walked up and gotten a spot, no problem. I mean, people were lined up for the parade when we got to Magic Kingdom, so we definitely wouldn't have gotten a spot for the first parade. But I think the second parade we could have done no problem if we weren't leaving the next morning. But because we were leaving the next morning, we didn't want to stay super late that night. So it all worked out and we had a really great meal. I will say, I don't think Tony's is as bad as it used to be. I think they've done a really good job revamping the menu. I mean, it still kind of tastes like Olive Garden, but if you like Olive Garden, I think you'll like Tony's. And it's usually an easy enough reservation to get. Um, and then the next day, yeah, we were checking out and heading home to Buffalo. We flew JetBlue that day. Again, Juniper had her own seat. We loved the flight. Everything was on time. Um, but yeah, we had a really, really, really great trip. I don't know if anybody has any questions, but we had so much fun. It was just a whirlwind. Like, I can't believe the trip went by so fast. It was a really long trip, and it still felt like I blinked and it was over. But we really had a great time. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this live with me. We really had a great trip. I think our next trip is going to be December, like I said. That's the next one I think we have booked. It's just so hot right now. Although I would go tomorrow if somebody was like, hey, do you want to go to Disney tomorrow? It's really hard when we have our annual passes now that, like, to not want to book something last minute. Like, I'd love to go in September or October, but we have our Halloween party in October. So, like, it's always hard to go in October, and then November is just too close to our December trip. So, we'll see. But I hope you guys enjoyed this live. And if you have any questions, leave them down below in the question or the comment section, and I will be happy to answer them. But I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.